Everyone listen close to this, and that is forgive fast.
So many of us are holding on to resentment, bitterness, and anger. It's like we're grasping hot coal with the intent at throwing it at someone else. We're the one, though, who's getting burned when we want to do that. The key is to forgive fast. Imagine yourself just releasing that hot coal very fast. It's no longer burning you. And now you could start healing. I went up and I went to go visit my biological father, and I went and I forgave him. I forgave him for not being a great father, for not coming to my wedding. I forgave him for abandoning me when I was a year old and really struggled a lot with that hurt, with that abandonment. And I look back, that's when I was able to start writing after I chose to forgive him. And I wasn't doing it for him. I was forgiving him for me so that I could begin healing. I had to let go of the old in order to create the new.
You're with these coaches or top CEOs. Let's just take Sean McVay of the Rams, Dabo Sweeney, Dave Roberts of the Dodgers, right? Why do they need you? I know why, but I want to talk about this because there's a lot of leaders here. Someone's leading a family. They're a founder of a company.
No one creates success alone. We all need a team to be successful. And even leaders need a team. Every great leader needs people that are pouring into them, someone they can share their challenges with. Every leader is dealing with something, and they need to be able to talk to someone that can help them, someone who knows what they're going through, someone who knows the way forward, who can help them find the way.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. So I think he's about to break a record for the most times on the podcast. It's really close. It's you, Tony Robbins, or maybe John Maxwell, but I think you just took the lead. And you got to be good to come back on a bunch of times. It's like being a returning guest on Saturday Night Live. It's a prestigious honor over here. And you got to be pretty good to come back. And he is. He's also one of my best friends. He's also now, as of this morning, a 19-time best-selling author. He sold millions of books. He's a voice for God around the world. He's a guy that I look to when I need advice. I always tell him one of the biggest compliments I can give a friend is, and I really have two people now that my dad's passed away, where I'll ask myself, what would John do when I make decisions? And there's two Johns. There's Jon Maxwell and Jon Gordon. And I often ask myself, what would John do? And that's this guy right here. His new book, The Power of Positive Habits, is awesome. It is probably my favorite, and I'm not just saying that because he's on, of all 19 books. And the reason is it's a very tactical book. Like, you're going to leave this book. You can't highlight it because about every page is highlight worthy. It's that good. So here's my friend, Jon Gordon. Welcome back to the show, brother.
Ed, thanks for having me. You mean the world to me, and our friendship means everything. And I know that you've had me on a bunch of times, and I don't take that lightly. To be able to share with you and your audience just means so much. And I know that we really made a huge impact over the years with our podcast, the One Truth especially, but I believe this one, as you said, these strategies are going to be our best one yet.
I do too. Most of you know this, but I need to assume you don't. John is a leader of leaders in the corporate space for sure. But when I think of him at first, because it's how I got introduced to him, I think of the sports world. And just so you know, everybody from the top NFL coaches to top college coaches in about every sport, from women's basketball to college football to the NFL to Major League Baseball, go to really one person for the most part for most of their guidance and advice, and it's him. So you get to sit with him today, and I'll try to ask him the questions that I think you would ask him, since he and I talk about a lot of stuff privately. So let's start out first. Why'd you write a book on habits? Like, why are habits important, but in your mind, they're not like the most important thing, yet that's the title in the book. So let's start there about how important are habits and why wasn't it named differently?
Well, your habits are what you become, as you know. So your habits eventually become you. What you do repeatedly becomes the person you are, how you live your life, how you think. Thinking is actually a habit. And Ed, years ago, I began my journey writing and speaking, sharing positive tips because I was miserable. I was negative. My wife almost left me. She said, if you don't change, we're over. And right then and there, I began researching ways I could be more positive. And I read You Can't Be Stressed and Thankful at the same time. So I began taking a thank you walk every day, which was a habit. This thank you walk changed my life, where you're walking and you're practicing gratitude and you're flooding your brain with these positive emotions that uplift you. rather than the stress hormones that slowly drain you and over time slowly kill you. So by doing that day in and day out, I really shifted my mindset, my heart, my soul, and I began to see a huge change in my life. And that was a habit. So then I began sharing what I was doing as I began doing more things and writing about that. I had 5 subscribers at the time, my mother, my brother, my best friend from college. And people started sharing these tips with others. So I was sharing habits and tips over the years. So really for me, this was like getting back to my roots, sharing all the things I've done over the years, the tips and the strategies I've been sharing with leaders, with companies, with organizations, with athletes, and everyone in one collective piece where all these habits, like my greatest hits, 93 habits in one book that you could read and say, okay, I'm going to pick a few of these. I'm not going to do all of them, but I'm going to pick a few that literally can change the course of my life. And as you know, habits will change your life. They change mine. And that's why I called it the power of positive habits.
It's so hard knowing you now that you were once a negative guy. And the other thing that the habit thing does is it actually over time does change who you are or what your results are. Because, you know, you and I talk all the time, and it's just hard for me to picture you as a negative guy. I want to ask you about one of the habits. We're going to go in and out of habits and philosophy. But one of the habits is this like gratitude walk that you take. And it's important to me that we talk about it because I walk a lot. But one of the reasons I walk a lot is because of you. And there's some science to it too. You're moving your body and you're changing your neurology. There's a lot of that. There's a connection with God I want you to talk about. But the reason it's also important is there's this one clip on social media when Gabrielle Lyon was on my show, and we were talking about building muscle. And so under the muscle topic, I said, walking is an exercise. And then all these people freaked out like, he says it's not exercise. Of course it's exercise. It's exercise for your body. It's exercise for your soul. It's exercise for your mind. Doesn't build muscle was the point of the show. My dad walked every day during chemotherapy for 8 years just to cleanse himself. You do a lot of these 19 books have come from these walks, or at least ideas in them. So talk about the gratitude walk, or I assume that's what you called it in the book as well, but I want to make sure I say it right.
Yeah, I call it a thank you walk because while you're walking, you're practicing gratitude and you're being thankful. You're being thankful for the little things, the big things. You're being thankful for God, the one who created it all, and you're thankful for it all. And so for me, that is a walk where you are creating a fertile mind that is ready for great things to happen. When you get done with a gratitude walk, you've been practicing gratitude, you've changed your state. I know you love talking about state, right? You're changing your state of mind, how you feel, how you think, and you come back and you are ready for a great day. You're ready for great things to happen. I believe you become a gratitude magnet the more you actually take a gratitude walk, which means you start attracting more things into your life because you're being grateful, and that attracts things to be grateful about. And so that has been a huge shift for me. Also, as you said, every book that I've written over the years has come to me during these walks, the ideas, the thoughts, the vision, the blueprint. I've gotten whole frameworks and the entire book in like one download on these walks, just finding that stillness. And I'm not practicing gratitude the whole time, right? Most of the time. But then when you're silent, next thing you know, the ideas start coming. The energy starts flowing. This shift happens. And I have even said on these walks that they're also affirmation walks too. Like, I am ready for great things to happen. I accept all the clients who want to work with me and have me speak to their team and their organization. I get back from that walk. Next thing you know, I got 2 emails that have just come in asking me to speak. It's wild. It happens all the time. And I know you've done a lot of programming in your mind this way, but it works.
Yeah, it does work. And I actually started doing that thing, the gratitude walk, the thank you walk, the thankfulness walk, because of you. We were at an event. He's basically generous, you guys too. So like, you call Jon up and you're in the middle of asking for a favor. He just interrupts you. Yes. Yes. And it's one of those friends that you don't even have to explain everything to. His default answer is, I want to help you. So we do these events in my home that some of you have been to at the end of every year where we plan out the next year. Jon's generous. He makes hundreds of thousands of dollars to speak. He'll come on and do it for free at my home. But this year, he said something in my living room, and I'm telling you, it actually took the breath out of my body. It was so, I think you know what I'm going to ask you about. I just went, I've never heard that. And I went, and that's hard for me to hear something new, being in this industry so long. And so it's one of the habits in the book that you talk about too. So everyone listen close to this, and that is forgive fast. Bro, this opens up a dimension that's just unbelievable. So what's the principle? What is the actual habit? And then what can it uncover and release for you?
And as we talked about that day in your house, which was an amazing event, so many of us are holding on to resentment, bitterness, and anger. It's like we're grasping hot coal with the intent at throwing it at someone else. We're the one, though, who's getting burned when we want to do that. Yeah, we want to hurt others. Yeah, we're angry. Yeah, we want to make people feel bad like we feel. And yet we're getting burned ourselves. The key is to forgive fast. Imagine yourself just releasing that hot coal very fast. It's no longer burning you. And now you could start healing. I talked about that day, and I want to share this now, how when I knew I wanted to be a writer and speaker around 31, 32 years old, I could not write. I tried to write, but I couldn't. And I went up and I went to go visit my biological father who lived in Long Island, New York, where I'm from. Took my daughter with me. And I went and I forgave him. I forgave him for not being a great father. I forgave him for not coming to my wedding. I forgave him for abandoning me when I was a year old and really struggled a lot with that hurt, with that abandonment. I had an abandonment issue for years, and I just forgave him. And I came back.
Gosh.
And I look back, that's when I was able to start writing after I chose to forgive him. And I wasn't doing it for him. We don't have a relationship to this day, but I was forgiving him for me so that I could begin healing. And I began writing, as I said, I had to let go of the old in order to create the new. And one of the other habits in the book is don't let old battles keep you from new victories. If you're fighting those old battles and you're angry about the past, you don't have the energy to create something new and amazing in your life. And I look back and I realized that was a defining moment in my life. And I say forgive fast because I wish I would have forgiven faster. If I would have forgiven in my 20s, I could have started writing sooner. I could have started growing sooner. I had to wait until I was in my 30s. Guys, don't wait. The faster you forgive, the sooner you start growing and healing.
Unbelievable. Do you think, you also talk about that antenna, the love antenna, and connecting to inspiration and information and to God. Do you think when you're carrying resentment or bitterness or holding on to a divorce or a friend that left you over or a position you didn't get, are you almost like interrupting that antenna connection to some extent?
Yeah, I get two visuals when you say that. I get the visual of static. You're creating static that you then cannot connect to the creator of the universe because you are holding on to this heavy vibrational energy that is weighing you down, and it's causing you to operate at a lower frequency so you can't connect to the higher frequency. We understand the frequency world, you and I, very well, but on a spiritual level, I believe we have to let go of the pain, the burden, the heaviness, the toxic weight that we're carrying. I call it sludge in our pipeline. You got to let go of that sludge. And once you let it go, what happens? God can now flow through you. He can't flow through you and move you through you. The Holy Spirit can't move through you if you have this heavy energy weighing you down. And Christians would call that sin.
Yeah. This is so good, by the way. Like, that's a hot first 10 minutes of a podcast, by the way. Like, we're going to the good stuff. The other thing that I did it because it was in the book. So first off, I just want y'all to know, I read 1 million books. That's an exaggeration, but I read a lot. And because I have a show, I read a ton. And most of them don't make it on the show unless it's a great book. Lately, because my son's the producer, I kind of have him read them first. And John loves, Max loves John, and they know each other. And so, I was kind of worried, is there like a bias there? I'm going to have John on no matter what, you guys, transparently. Like, if I can record an hour of talking with my buddy and you guys get to hear it, I would do it. I said, Max, you read it first and don't BS me. I didn't actually say BS. I said the full thing. I said, let me know if it's any good. That's literally what I said. And it's you, so I know it's going to be good because it's you. You're one of the great writers of our time. But and he calls me like 2 days after reading it, or 2 days, had the book 2 days, read it in 2 days. He goes, Dad, it's awesome. It's excellent. And the reason, and he's my kid, the reason that that's important is this book can reach people at every single age. I want you all to know that. It's got 93 habits? Is that what it is?
93.
Okay. So we can really cover a bunch of them today because we're not going to make a dent. So in the book, then I read it. I'm like, okay, it is awesome. You have this thing in there I didn't want to do. I'm like, this is one of these that you put in a book, but I don't think it's going to make a very big difference. And it did. So I want to talk about it. You said write down your purpose statement. And I'm like, yeah, at my level, 55, had a few victories here, kind of cheesy. I'm going to write out this purpose statement. Not so cheesy. Actually, ironically, John, for me, it was one of the more effective things in the book. I can't believe it, but it really was. Why is that so important to actually write it as well? Not just think it, but write it. So everybody, for parents looking for a new path to help your child succeed this year, there's still time to enroll in K-12 online schools. This could be the perfect fit for your family. K-12 Powered Schools offers tuition-free, accredited online public education for students in kindergarten through the 12th grade with a curriculum designed to meet your child where they are and support their unique needs, their unique interests, and their goals. There's even extracurricular activities to connect with peers and explore interests. K-12's dedicated teachers are trained in virtual instruction and provide real-time support, all in an online setting that works for your family at home or anywhere there's internet. Plus, K-12 has been a leader in online education for more than 25 years. Listen to this, 3 million students and counting. So this is not an experiment. See how K-12 Powered Schools can help your child thrive this year and beyond. Enroll online today at k12.com/Mylett. That's the letter K, the number 12.com/Mylett. k12.com/Mylett. I called my bank about a billing thing last month, pressed 4 for billing, then the hold music, then a robotic voice asking me to say my account number, then they couldn't hear it, then I repeated, then a person asking me for the same account number. I just literally said 20 minutes for a 2-minute question. I wish they used 11 Labs, and if I had needed 11 agents by 11 Labs, it's what I'd use. 11 Agents is a platform for AI voice and chat that agents can actually listen, understand, and resolve customer issues, and it sounds perfect. Like they can look up your account, they can process requests, hand off to a person even when needed. So if you run a business or customer operations across support, sales, or marketing, you can start with a demo at 11labs.io/Mylett. See how 11 agents can fix in your workflows and help build experience that your customers will actually love. 11labs.io/Mylett. ELEVENLABS.io/Mylett.
You got to write it so you can see it and read it and talk about it and think about it on a daily basis. So it's front and center. You have to remember your why. Ed, my mission statement, my purpose statement is develop positive leaders who make a positive impact in every business, school, team, organization, and community to create a more positive world. And I think about that and I say it. When I forget it, I get tired. I get tired.
It's true.
Yeah, we don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it.
Wow.
And so when you know your why, you'll know the way. You're not going to let obstacles get in the way. So seeing that why, seeing that purpose statement keeps you fresh. It keeps you focused. It helps you remember why you're doing what you're doing. Because there are times, even this podcast, it can get old, it can get tired, it can get mundane. I mean, I got to do another show. And you can let it sabotage you, but purpose keeps it fresh. So you have to keep your purpose freshly in front of you where you see it. And I'm just curious, Ed, generally, you have to read the whole purpose statement, but what is your general purpose? What did you come up with? I'm just curious on this.
Yeah, I want to be a voice for God in the world, and it's a longer one than that, but I'm pretty clear that I'm surprised since I wrote that down how many of my conversations that start out as business or the body or the mind, because that's what people come to me for, their mind or peak performance, somehow more often seem to be moving over to the spiritual realm inside of it. And so it's longer than that, but really, I can be very simple about it. Like, I want to be a force for good, but really a force for God in the world. And I've spent a lot of my life, helping people with sports or business or making more money or getting more fit or being happier. And all that's great, but it's actually not the most important thing any longer in my life. And so that process helped me get clear. It was almost like a re-audit of my purpose. Some of you have a purpose you've been committed to for a decade, and it may no longer be as fulfilling as it used to be. It may need an update, an enhancement, an adjustment, or maybe just a recommitment as to what John said here. So, and I know yours, and by the way, you've been a huge influence on me for that. I know that you know that, but what about...
I love that you just said that, but I got to say, I got to give you some kudos because I meet so many people who are saying that you spoke and they heard you speak and you talked about God, you talked about Jesus, and you just deeply, deeply impacted these people, like every single one, more and more where again, you and I used to talk a lot about business strategy and so forth, and we still do.
Yeah,
I
we
think
do.
people come to us for what they want, and
Yeah.
then we share what they need.
Oh, that's so good, bro. You're on fire today, by the way. You guys, just so you know, he flew 11 hours last night back from Italy. And this, like, I'm getting your A game today, which is super awesome. There's something else in the book that is so true. And I'm just going to go right to it. Think less. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, have you noticed that overthinking is always associated with negative thoughts?
Yes.
We never
Yes.
say I have too many positive thoughts.
Yes. Yes.
I just have too much gratitude. Man, I'm just too happy. Life is too awesome. I'm just thinking too many positive thoughts of how great life is. No one lays in bed at night with their thoughts racing. They can't fall asleep thinking about how great life is.
So true.
It's always the clutter, and it's always all those negative thoughts, anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, ton of negative thoughts coming in, and they burden you, they weigh you down, and they lower your state of mind. So the key to life, this is the key to life, is to think less. We don't want to think more. We want to think less. Find that stillness, pray more, surrender more, get connected. The more you connect to God, the more you'll actually think less and you will have more positive thoughts. The more disconnected you are from God, the more negative thoughts you will have, the more fear, worry, and doubt you have. It's really simple. It comes down to being connected to God or disconnected. So whenever someone has a ton of negative thoughts, I say to them, I bet you're probably feeling very disconnected from God. You probably were connected at one point, but now you feel disconnected. And they say, yeah, how do you know? How'd you know that? I said, yeah, because if you were connected, you wouldn't be having all those negative thoughts. You'd be feeling joy, peace, love, power, strength. You know, when you're on stage and you're connected to God, man, you're in the zone. It is flowing. When you're disconnected from God, it feels like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders.
You and I talk about it a lot. We'll call each other, go, how'd you do? You know, on stage. And every once in a while, I'll say, it was me. It sucked. You know, when God's flowing through, it's just very different. But when it's Ed Mylett up there alone, just a dork, it's usually not very good. So
same thing with me. I'm out there and I'm like, I know when I'm connected to God, man, it feels great. I give 10 talks that day.
Exactly.
When it's you, you're exhausted after one talk.
You're exactly right. Yeah, because we're just human. You know, we're not that great. We're nothing on our own. What about when you're with these coaches or top CEOs? Let's just take Sean McVay of the Rams, Dabo Sweeney of Clemson, Dave Roberts of the Dodgers, right? Let's just take those guys, but collectively, and the women coaches you work with, the national championship basketball team at UCLA, right?
Yep, very close.
Yeah, I was just talking about her yesterday, by the way. What habits do you see in them that you don't see in maybe the average coach or the average CEO?
The habits of just such extreme intentionality, just like how you live. Like they are one of one. They are the 1%, even higher than the 1%, just like you. So focused, so prepared. Everything matters. They're on all the details. And when you text these people, they get back to you.
True.
Often within the first hour or two, they get back to you. It's wild. The busiest people on earth actually get back to you. And then I'll have some coaches who don't get back to me for a while. It's like one of my tests, actually. I can tell how great that coach is, their state of mind by how they respond to their text and how much they can actually handle. They can handle so much. So they have the habit of, one, connecting with their people, which is essential. They have the habit of taking care of themselves. Every one of them actually, take care of themselves mentally and spiritually, which I think is really important. Some more on the physical side than others, which I think is important. Others are not taking care of themselves, and you can see how it affects their performance, how it affects their leadership, how it affects their coaching. Also, these great coaches, their habits. I actually could have wrote this book and called it Leadership Habits. I was even thinking about calling it Leadership Habits because, they're big on encouraging others as well. That's a great leadership habit they have that really makes them a great leader. They bring out the best in others. And every one of them also has the habit of believing in their team more than the team believes in themselves. And I know that is huge. Meeting Max, you said he loves me. I love Max. Right. And I see greatness in him. But I also know I see that because one, you've poured so much into him. So he also has that greatness and he sees the greatness and he knows what he is and he knows what he's going to be. And I see that greatness in him. And I know that where he is now, man, it's going to pale into comparison to where he's going. And I know you're speaking life into him all the time. That's what makes someone great.
Well, why do they need you? I know why, but I want to talk about this because there's a lot of leaders here. Someone's leading a family. They're a founder of a company. They're in real estate and they're on their own every day. And they're allowing themselves by choice, by not making a different choice, to be alone a lot. Now, the Bible tells us he'll never leave you nor forsake you. You're never alone. But you understand what I'm talking about. Why does Dave Roberts, who's won all these World Series as a player and a coach, need you? Are you more of a confidant and advisor as you are, or as opposed to being in there strategically every day working with them? Because I think some people don't understand the value of seeking out and having a mentor or a confidant or a group they're a part of. You know, I don't know where I'd be without, early in my career, Wayne Dyer or Tony Robbins pouring into me. And then later in my life, friends like you or Maxwell. Like, I need that. They're confidants, they're advisors, they're counselors. What role do you play? Why do they need you?
No one creates success alone. We all need a team to be successful. And even leaders need a team. Every great leader needs people that are pouring into them, someone they can share their challenges with. Every leader is dealing with something, and they need to be able to talk to someone that can help them, someone who knows what they're going through, someone who knows the way forward, who can help them find the way, because no leader is perfect. I know I'm not. I've learned from so many leaders that have helped me. And I think it's interesting that I never planned this to be the case, but what's happened over the years, it starts with me going first and working with that leader, helping that leader build their culture and build their team. So I'm the best in the world at helping leaders build stronger teams. I know that. That's my gift. I know what you're the best in the world at. I know I'm the best at helping a leader build a stronger team and build a culture. So I meet with that leader, and I literally will help that leader, Dave Roberts, Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, Liam Cohen of the Jaguars, Corey Close with the women's basketball, UCLA women's basketball, all these coaches over the years, meeting with them and helping them build their culture with their core values, with their vision and mission, with their standards of behaviors. I've actually just created a whole process on helping a leader build their culture, because I've been doing it over the years, but I never realized actually what I was doing. So now I've actually put it down on a one pager where I've actually put this culture building process for a leader. So it starts that way. Then I'm also giving that leader strategies and ideas on how to build a connected and committed team. And I've done this for years now, since like 2007, work with the Jaguars and Jack Del Rio. So I know the challenges they're facing. I know the challenges they're going to face. I know when they have a great year this year, I know what's coming the next 2 or 3 years from now.
You do. You tell me. And it happens.
Yeah, when the gonna hit the fan, I know what's coming. I've been there enough. I've been there with Mike Smith. The first few years were awesome, and then after the 5th or 6th year, started to go downhill a little bit. I know what's coming. I've seen it. I've also worked with so many leaders that I now see patterns of success. I see what great leaders do. I also see all the issues that they deal with, and very rarely do I see something that hasn't happened before. So I actually know how to deal with various situations and various challenges. But for that leader, I'm also, just like you, really good with their mindset and helping them with the mindset they need to have as a leader. And what I'm also best at is when they're dealing with something personal that's affecting their leadership, I'm able to meet them where they are and talk to them about it and really help them figure out what's going on with them, to help them get through the challenge they're facing so they can better lead their team. And that's when I've been at my best, when the leader has been at his worst or her worst, and they reach out to me, and I'm there for them, and I give them some ideas and some thoughts, and I tell them what's really going on, and I see it so clearly. Some of them have called me a soul doctor. Like, man, you're like this culture guy, strategy guy, but you literally could see into my soul and help me figure out what's going on there and help me figure out what I need to do next, and the wound that I have that's affecting me as a leader and how I need to heal. And then I saw this in myself just recently. Like, I have a wound in my soul that came out recently, and I'm like, man, I need to heal that. Like, I believe every leader has a wound. They need to heal the wound so they can then heal others. And you'll find that. So it goes deeper as well. It starts out with what they want. They want to win. They want to be successful. They want to be great. You become a confident. You're helping them do that. Then you become that person they can go to actually help with their own personal lives. and their own growth as a leader, and then you help them with their team becoming that kind of leader that their team needs as well. So it's multifaceted, but I've realized that's what's happened over the last, almost 20 years now of working with all these leaders in corporations and also sports. What I love about sports is you can see it right away.
Right.
You start working with that leader, you help them with their culture. Like Liam Cohen is a great example with the Jaguars. Man, we sat down and we created his culture from scratch, a blank canvas. And we came up with everything, with the mission and vision of the team and the organization, of the core values, of the acronym that everyone's going to learn from and now focus on. The words on the walls of the building are now, covered with the ideas we came up with in that meeting. It is so cool to see that, and then to see that culture translate to the team, to see his incredible leadership. Again, it's his leadership. And to see that team come alive because of his leadership, and for him to even reach out to me in the first place says a lot. And then for him to go put that into practice, man, nothing better to watch it coming to life.
You guys ought to ask yourselves as a leader, what's the wound you need to heal to go to the next level based on what Jon just said. I'm thinking about it myself. Inside stuff here, I'll tell you guys. A couple years ago, he went and talked to the Redskins. And they were an okay football team at the time. He goes, I'm telling you, something really good is going to happen this year. And they went all the way to the NFC Championship when they weren't supposed to. Then last year, he tells me, yeah, keep your eye on Seattle and keep your eye on the Jaguars, because he was working with both of them. The Jags had an unbelievable season, and Seattle won the Super Bowl. And so I kind of know who's already going to win in the NFL based on the scoops that Jon gives me. And by the way, he is right. Like, it's mind-blowing how often he's right after he goes and meets with the coach and knows whether they're going to be coachable. All right, now let's go to a couple things he does so that you guys get inside. What's he talking about with Liam Cohen? So let's go to one of them. Law 66 is huge. It's huge. It's ask yourself 4 questions each day. Tell us about that.
Asking yourself 4 questions every day in order to get better, because every team, every individual wants to get better. And you asked a habit earlier of these great coaches and great leaders. And the one thing I could say is that every single one of them is always looking for the edge. They're always looking to improve and grow and get better. Many of them came to my training camp event recently that Max was at as well. And these were guys that were taking notes when the other speakers were up there. Like, they are a Hall of Fame coach. Billy Donovan is taking notes. Sean McVay is literally attentive the entire time, not distracted, literally dialed in, listening to every speaker, writing things down and saying, okay, what's the one thing I can do to improve? What does my team need? What is going to give me and our team the edge in order to grow? The average coach thinks they know it all. The great ones know they don't know it all, and they're trying to continue to learn and grow and get better. So the 4 questions you can ask every day is, what did we do well? What could we do better? What did we learn that will make us better? And then what actions will we take in order to get better? If you and your team ask those 4 questions every day and you answer them and then you take action on these ideas, you're going to grow. And here's what I know. Everyone talks about getting better. Everybody wants to get better, but not everyone actually gets better. Like, it's funny because we say you got to get better. Like, it sounds so cliche.
Yeah.
And yet so many are focused on the outcome, not the process of improving. So here's the deal. Don't focus on being the best. Focus on being the best at getting better.
Hey, real quick, if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know I'm passionate about helping people become the best version of themselves, and that's why I'm excited to speak at Life Surge events. Life Surge is a one-day event for Christian business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals, and leaders. They talk about faith, business, investing, leadership, and stewardship, and I'm one of the speakers there. With practical ideas they teach you that you can apply to your work and your life. If that sounds like something you want to be a part of, I'd love to see you there. Head over to lifesurge.com and use promo code ED30 to save 30% off your tickets. I'll see you there.
Whoa. Ooh. Are there specific 4 every day that you have to ask yourself?
Those are the 4 questions that I love individuals and teams to ask yourselves, because you're doing things well. You need to highlight that and continue to do them well. Then you want to ask, what can we do better? Like, how can we improve? So many people stop improving when they're having success. And this is the key. All right, I'm successful now. I am crushing it. And then you start coasting. It's why John Madden said winning is a great deodorant. it covers up what stinks about your team.
It's so true. So true. You know, one thing I was thinking about with the guys we were just naming, and I am fortunate to know most of those guys as well. I know you. I know the athletes and leaders I work with. Here's a secret thing I want you to talk about. You have it. I have it. They bring, based on all of these habits, it allows them, everyone listen close. This is as a mom, a dad, a leader, a salesperson. Listen close. The most underestimated thing I think on the planet that's not talked about is the energy to which you bring to the day, the meeting, the project, whatever it is. It's the energy, it's the frequency. It's like you and I bring such high energy that when you don't, like you're just so fatigued, we're around each other enough that I catch you on a day where you don't. It's so stark, the difference, because of like today, the energy you've got. If I think of a McVay, the energy. But a Dave Roberts, he brings it differently, but he brings energy. Kevin O'Connell, just observing it, brings it. Dabo brings it differently, right? Steve Jobs and Elon Musk both bring massive energy, but they brought it differently. So what about being cognizant of the force and the energy you bring to a project, and then it's the appropriate energy, by the way, everybody, it's requisite for what you're doing. Like some things you don't want to walk into a boardroom with two people and blow them out like you're going to blow out a room full of, but what about energetic bringing to a project?
It's what the audience needs. It's what the person needs. It's what the team needs. The leader knows what energy and what to bring for the moment and for the person. As you're saying that, I just started thinking about the fact that you and I will both be in different settings speaking, and we'll bring different energy based on the event. I'll bring different energy based on who just spoke before me.
Same here.
I know that guy just brought the heat like no other, and I can't try to match that heat because he is a World War II veteran, or he is a Afghanistan veteran, and that guy just brought such an amazing story of heroism and survival that I can't match, and the crowd is feeling a certain way. I've got to now bring a different energy to the moment and to the people. So I'm always looking to benefit the room, benefit the people, and that's what great leaders do. You're right. As you're saying that, Ed, what a great insight you just shared, because when I think about these leaders, man, they bring the right energy in the right moment. I'll never forget Dabo Swinney at halftime against Alabama, and they're losing. He goes, guys, we're going to win this game. I know it. I'm just telling you right now. I've already seen it. We're going to win this game. I don't know how, but we are going to win this game. That was the right energy, the right words in that moment. Think about Abraham Lincoln bringing the right energy and the right words to the country during that time. That's what leaders do.
I think they forget.
And clarity, though. One other thing, clarity. I think the greatest gift a leader can bring a team is clarity in the moment. This is what's important now. All of the stuff, forget it. This is what matters now. Let's do this. And clarity leads to focus action.
Okay, good, because I'm going to ask you a question about that for the last question, too. So you just teed me up. That's Holy Spirit stuff right there. Everyone, I want you to understand something. I think this is a thing maybe many of you miss. You think about bringing your strategy to a product or a project or getting on time. I think most people are oblivious to their energy. Energy overwhelms, in most cases, even a lack of a strategy, even if you're behind. If you can match the right energy and bring the energy, even with your children, sometimes they need that energy where you're the disciplinarian and you're a little bit firm with them. Sometimes they need this loving, kind, believing energy. And most people aren't conscious of that part of their leadership or their life. And so they say all the right things, but never produce the right results because energetically they are not matching what the moment requires of them. They're just oblivious to energy. And there's people I meet. Think about this, John. Don't you meet somebody immediately sometimes and you can just tell by their energy, this sounds terrible, they're not a winner yet. You can just tell energetically, this person is not yet a winner. I don't say not a winner because everybody can be. But I know within about 2 minutes of meeting most people, whether this person's a player or not currently. And it's usually their energy, not what they say, but how they say it, how they position themselves. Do you agree with that for the most part?
Yeah. Well, you and I will meet leaders and we know that they're a certain level and you know what the higher level looks like and feels like. So you can tell right away that they're not at that level. The only challenge is they often can't see it. And you try to tell them, and they need to be mentored, they need to be coached, but they can't see it. But you know you could take them to that next level
Yes.
if they're willing. And I wish more people could see it, because then they would get the coaching necessary to go to that higher level. There's a reason, as you said, like why these coaches come to me, why so many high-level leaders go to you, because we help them get the results they want and also the healing they need.
Yeah, isn't it cool, you guys, kind of to lean into this conversation we're having today? This is what John and I talk about when you're not around. Honestly, we talk a lot about God and family, but this is what he and I do commiserate about. Strategies, thoughts, like insights we're both having, breakthroughs, like the next level. We talk about this stuff a lot, independent of you guys even listening. You said something a minute ago about clarity, and I'll leave this as the last habit we'll cover, because I don't want to go get the other 87 in the book, but I'm convinced that in this day and age that lack of clarity is the killer of most movements, businesses, families, churches, sports. Complexity is the enemy of execution. There's a lack of clarity. There's a lack of specificity. Even people that pay me 6 figures to coach, I'm shocked, bro. You've just laid out multiple 6 figures to be coached by me. It's our first call. First question I usually ask everybody: what's your outcome for us working together? And I'm blown away at the vagueness of their answer. Very rarely does somebody go specifically, this is exactly what I want. And I always go, this is going to be someone I love working with. But a lot of them, they're vague even on that question. It's mind blowing to me.
Yeah, how do they not know? How do they know?
So here's the question for you. One of the habits in the book is tune out distractions. Guys, your life's loaded with politics, your Instagram feed, Netflix, all the stuff going on in the world all the time, text messages, emails, thoughts, blah, blah, blah. You're more distracted than you realize. I think success next level is oftentimes a process of elimination, not addition. Talk about distractions.
Don't make the simple difficult. Make the difficult simple. I just love that, because we make things so complex when they don't have to be. Here's the key. You tune out distractions, because distractions, as you know, are the enemy of greatness. They keep you from focusing on what matters most. And I love to wake up every day and say, what matters most today? I recommend everyone does this. Wake up, what matters most? And then you do what matters most. You focus on what matters most, and you will create what matters most. To be able to tune out the distractions, you have to identify what matters. So you say no to all the things that don't matter, that aren't that important. We allow all the things to get in the way of the one thing or the main thing that truly matters. And I think that often happens in our relationships, also our connection to God. Think about it. Are you making time for prayer, which is a habit in the book? Make time for prayer, because when you pray, you're going to elevate your state of mind. You're going to increase your capacity for leadership. You're going to be able to have new ideas and insights to the problems that you're facing. And if you're not praying, your problems will become greater than your capacity. And yet so often we're so busy doing so many things, we don't take the time to pray. We don't take the time for our relationships that matter most, when ultimately at the end of the day, that's all we'll have at the end. The people who'll be crying at our funeral, the people who'll be at our deathbed, that's what matters most. And yet we focus on all the things that don't matter. And if you really focus on like being the best you can be, you have to identify what are the 1 or 2 or 3 things that I need to do today to be my best. I call it Zoom focus. Zoom focus today on those things, and make sure you do those things. And if you do that every day, over time, you're going to create incredible results instead of allowing the distractions to create you and a very cluttered life. I don't know if there's more you want to add to it. I mean, there's so much I can say on distractions, but I do know this. Like, it's the sea turtle example. You live in Northeast Florida now, like I do, and they come on shore and they lay their eggs, and then next thing you know, when they hatch, those little hatchlings go towards the brightest light. They're meant to go towards the pure light of the moon, towards the ocean. That's what they're meant to do. But because of so many developed beaches, we have these artificial bright lights that are actually in the wrong direction. And too many sea turtles, those hatchlings, now go towards the bright lights, the artificial lights, the things that seem bright and shiny, the things that seem like, oh, it's going to be great for me, it's going to be awesome for me. And next thing you know, it leads to their destruction. You're not meant to go towards those bright lights. You're meant to go towards the pure light of the moon, which is what? Your purpose.
Bro, come on, man.
Destiny.
Come on. That's so good. All right, I got a last question for you. Gosh, that's look at you. So good. Someone listen. They hear you and I bring up God a couple of times. This last one, everyone can listen in that already is a believer, because it'll help you answer this question if someone asks you if you are a believer. But you were once not a believer.
Yep.
And I was once not a believer. Not that we didn't think there was a God, but there was some vagueness and confusion and doubt and questions and all that stuff. This has nothing to do with the book, but it has everything to do with you and who you are. Someone's listening, they're like, man, I like Gordon a lot. I've been listening to Mylett forever. You know, maybe I'm starting to wonder about this whole prayer thing or God thing, or, you know, it's kind of nudging on me, but I still got a ton of skepticism, and I see all the crap in the world with, you know, babies dying young, like what happened to my sister Erica, or all the wars, or people who say they're a believer and they're the worst people I deal with in business is a Christian dude or something, right? Like, what would you just say to them? Someone who's like, yeah, man, I'm open, but it ain't there yet. What would you say?
I would say bad things happen not because of God, but because there's evil. There is God and there is good, and then there is evil. And there's always this tension between good and evil. And the battle of the universe is a battle between good and evil. And we see it play out every single day. There is love, and then there is hate. There is joy, and then there is anguish. There's going to be duality, because that is this world. And I would say that as someone who has spent a lot of their life not really believing in a God in terms of like an intimate, personal connection, relationship, who now knows that's the case, I can tell people there is a God, and God loves you, and God has a plan for you, and you're not an accident, and you're here for a reason. And that when we give our life to God and we trust in him and we give our life to God, what happens is he gives us his life. So this is what happens. Like when you give him your life, God, I give you my life. He then gives you his life. It's the great exchange. And his spirit now lives inside of you. And when his spirit is in you, you have power, you have peace, you have love, you have confidence, you have courage. When his spirit is not in you and you're disconnected from God, that's when you feel the anguish and the pain and the burdens of the past and the hurts of the past and the anxiety that you feel every day. The root for the Greek word of anxious means to separate and divide. So when you're anxious, you feel separate and divided. And we live in a world today where so many are anxious, fearful, chronically worried and stressed. And it's because they don't have the Spirit of God living in them. So I said this to a group of young men the other day. We took a hike to the mountains in Italy, and I just said to them, guys, the most important decision I ever made in my life was just to trust in God, to believe that God was a loving God and he had a plan for my life. And I got to tell you, ever since I've been doing that, it's the greatest decision I've ever made. The second greatest decision, my wife, marrying my wife. I believe those two decisions are the two biggest decisions you can make. Your spouse and trusting in God. And I also believe the career and the mission, the purpose that you choose in this life, that will fulfill you if you pick what you're meant to do and what you're called to do. And I truly believe that too many people are living apart from God. So for those who don't believe, I would say give God a shot. Trust in him, that he has a plan for you, and watch as you give him your life, he gives you his life, and watch how that power transforms your life and helps you live a more fulfilling life. Will it be challenging still? Yes. It doesn't mean it's going to be an easy life. You'll face challenges and tribulations and setbacks, but you'll have the strength to get through it and to overcome it. Apart from God, you can do nothing, and you'll be weak and powerless. And that is the truth.
Yes. What a great hour, bro. You know that. Like, what a great hour. Like, I'm grateful I just spent this hour with you. And you know, I love you. I'm very grateful you're in my life. You're truly in my life. You've become a gift from God in my life. And
you to me. You always say that when we're in public, but I want to say to you as well, you have been a great gift to me. Folks, in the book, there is to create your highlight reel. This is from my buddy, Ed Mylett, who taught me technique. He was teaching it. And I asked him, I said, Ed, can I put that in the book? I love it so much. And he said, yes. And also in the book is also lifting weights. Because when I met Ed for the first time in person, Ed was jacked and I wasn't. And I saw him walk in, talk about presence and state. He had this presence and this state that was something that I was like, wow, who is that guy? I don't have that. I used to have that. I used to look like that. What has happened to me? And ever since then, I have been lifting. And I feel better now at 55. I am stronger now. People tell me I look better. I look younger than when I was 40 years old. And I credit my buddy Ed Mylett with this. He impacted me in a huge way and helped change the trajectory of my life because of those few habits that he taught me that I put in the book. Now imagine you pick a few habits from this book and you allow that to change the course of your life. That's what it's all about. But Ed, I just wanted to give you that, dude, because you deserve it. Because I'm on stage. I feel more confident than ever. I feel better than ever. You see me. I walk with a boldness now I did not walk with 5-6 years ago.
Yep.
And I was making an impact, but now I'm able to make a greater impact.
You do. You bring a bigger and different energy, by the way, as well.
No matter what level you are, guys, no matter what level you are, wherever you are, just know you can go to a higher level. This is about exponentially growing you. So even at your top, like Sean McVay and these other coaches and other leaders, you still can go to the next level. And Ed showed me there's another level. And we're both showing you there's another level. Now you got to get to it, and you need a mentor and you need a coach to help you get there.
So good. This was as good as you get, guys, right here. I don't have to ask you to share this one. I know you will. This book is called The Power of Positive Habits. And the guy that wrote it, you just heard from, his name is Jon Gordon. Go get the book. Actually, you should get 2 and send it to somebody that you care about so that their life can change as well. All right, everybody. God bless you. Max out.